Splatoon 3 Story Mode. A mix of Splatoon 1, 2, and Octo Expansion Story Mode put into one story mode that is mediocre at best, but that's not the point. The point is, do you want to ruin your life? Well, have I got the method for you. Just simply don't play the game you paid $60 for. Half of you may have clicked on this video thinking it's impossible, only for me to say something like, yeah, it's impossible, but it's actually quite possible after the route that I thoroughly created. And by thoroughly created, I mean I winged it. So sit back and watch me suffer playing Splatoon 3 while not playing Splatoon 3. And if you end up enjoying this video, why not subscribe? It's free and it really helps out. Before playing Splatoon 3 without playing Splatoon 3, or however you want to title that, I had to create a new Switch profile to get a clean save file, which went well, and I also got to make a new character too, which went well. However, me and my friend had a little bit of conflict with what hairstyle little buddy had.
Go with the second one. Don't go with the second one. That one. That's the one.
I would do this one, but this is what I normally do. I feel you should go with the Karen.
Ugh.
So after asserting my dominance, I then speed ran through the tutorial, only to do an out of bounds glitch, show it to Daniel, and then clip out of bounds and go to the back rooms. Now that we're in Splatsville, we immediately ditch it, go to Inkopolis to the train station, and then do the story mode. First up, the crater. Our first obstacle is this bit of ooze that we need a small handful of power eggs to destroy. However, we don't have any of those or any way of getting power eggs. So, I asked my friend a very important question. You think we can make this jump? You think we can make this jump all the way over to there?
I think the game is gonna make you go poof.
Unfortunately, just like that, we have to play the first level. Even after that, too, we unfortunately have to play the second, third, and fourth level as well, since it's hard-coded into the game that you have to beat every level in the crater to get the fuzzball blocking DJ Octavio to appear. Sadly, our current level count is 4. However, we're not going to add DJ Octavio to the counter since he is a boss and not a level, and we will do so with future bosses too. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's start trying to skip what I believe is possible to skip now.
At first glance, you might think you need to play the first level here since there's no power eggs or any way out of this little tutorial area where the Squid Sisters set up. However, this is wrong. If you're patient enough, a balloon carrying 100 power eggs will fly by, which you need to throw Little Buddy at using a specific angle. This will take some time. When I say this will take some time, I do mean this will take some time until you get the technique down. I'm cutting out an hour and 30 minutes of me just throwing Little Buddy at a stupid balloon. After hitting my head and slamming it on my desk a few million times and missing over and over again with a bit of death mixed in, I finally was able to land my first one.
Oh, I got it!
Oh, you got it!
Yes!
After being rewarded 100 eggs, I was then able to see how many eggs I needed to pass through the ooze. 600, meaning I'd have to hit it 5 more times. I then went back to Inkopolis to get the balloon to respawn, and look what happened.
I got a badge! Yo!
That's great, dude.
With the path set, I just need to hit 500 more power eggs so I can pass through the ooze. This is, however, way easier said than done, and the balloon needs to be hit with proper technique in order to land. This technique may look easy, but it's actually very hard. The first part of this technique is simple. Face your character straight towards the flat end of the wall. Then point your reticle towards the sky. You want to position your reticle on the bottom middle of this triangle right here. It's a little weird, but where I have it right now is where it should be. Once the balloon pops on screen, go into squid form, shout this way, swim forward, jump, and if you did all this right, you'll hit the balloon. If you miss, intentionally jump in the ooze to die and reset the balloon's position. Once you have all 600 of your eggs, you're then free to move on to the rest of Alterna. Getting past the first glob of ooze means you have so many more ways to grind eggs now, like items in the ground that'll give you eggs, items you already collected giving you eggs, or even hitting the sunken scroll balloon, although that one's not really worth it.
The meta changes once you get out of that little corner. Now you want to run around and collect every item accessible to you at this point without spending any eggs to open up ooze. Once you're sure you've gathered everything accessible to you, leave Alterna and go back to the hub world so that everything respawns. You're gonna have to repeat this process a few times, but once you get 2,500 power eggs, you're clear to leave the world. Once you get 1,000 power eggs, you want to clear this ooze by the Moai statue. This gives you access to the world's exit upon clearing the final bit of ooze, as well as giving you more things that you can shoot to collect. Once you have the next set of 15,000 power eggs, you can clear the final ooze, ignore Deep Cut, and make your way to the second world. Thankfully, we don't have any more stupid techniques that we have to master for the rest of the run, and it's just somewhat smooth sailing from here. However, we do have to stop by Shiver Fry and Big Man to fight them for their treasure, which these technically aren't levels, but if you want to count them as levels, then just go ahead and add 3 to the counter, but we're not counting them over here. You're going to want to immediately start collecting eggs and stuff once you get to Cozy and Safe Factory, so that you can clear the oozes that are blocking Fry. You're especially going to want to collect any Sardinium you can find, since these will be used to upgrade your weapons. After clearing this first glob of ooze, my first instinct was to shoot upwards towards the boss kettle in hopes of hitting it. However, my efforts were in vain and this did not work. Apart from just wandering around and exploring, there's not really much interesting to this run. However, if you have a friend in call, you two might start just messing with each other and telling each other you can't do things and proving each other wrong like this. Can I make it over there from here? Hold on. We might be able to...
No, because you're in the air, you fall.
Made it.
So, oh wow.
As a side note, if you can get access to a whole area without spending any power eggs to destroy an ooze, that's really good, because then you get so many free eggs just from getting over there. Once you get the 1,000 eggs needed to clear the second glob of goop, it's smooth sailing to Fry from there, and we can finally fight our first boss.
How about this? You call it quits, join my crew, and we split the treasure.
Your treasure is a giant piece of metal.
Fighting Fry here is the exact same as fighting Fry in a normal playthrough. You just shoot her 3 times. The first time is simple, the second time is also simple, the third time you somehow get pushed off the map while doing a splashdown to your death.
What?!
And then you defeat Fry. Now, we can just go and collect our treasure.
Level. You fell? Did you actually fell? That's gonna leave a pretty deep cut.
We get the treasure and move on to the next world.
Now that we have opened a kettle, aka Fry, we finally have access to a super jump point. You will only understand how valuable this is if you try this run yourself. Beating Fry will supply you with the 2,000 eggs required to clear the ooze in front of the pipe. However, fight Fry a few more 100 times to get 8,300 eggs. This will give you enough to get to Shiver. The path through Cryogenic Hopetown is very simple if you have the eggs required to get through. You want to spend 600 eggs at this first glob of ooze here so you can bypass to the rest of the world. It's worth noting you can take multiple paths through this world, however, all of them converge at the same point. Also, you don't need to clear this ooze that I'm doing on screen right now. That's just pocket change, which is why I destroyed it. Otherwise, I would have gone for any other route. You can even see I just immediately got my eggs back right there. Though items lying around the hub world don't have as much value to us anymore, they're still worth collecting for the road to Big Man. If you don't want to spend 100 eggs as seen earlier, you can do a really tight jump over this ooze to get on top of this cargo platform. After clearing this ooze blocking the paths to the exits, you then want to choose to take the exit on the right, as it'll allow you to skip some ooze on the left. Assuming you picked up the 8,300 eggs right from the start, you should be able to just take this left path to go straight to Shiver. Use the gushers to get on top of the building and then take the bridge across. There's 2 pieces of ooze that you have to clear out, but if you picked the eggs up, you can pass through. Figuring out the path through Landfill Dreamland was a little challenging, but eventually I figured it out. You first want to use this ink rail here to swim across all the ooze and bypass straight to the back of the island. From here, spend some eggs to get rid of the ooze blocking the gusher and go right on up. Unfortunately, upon making it up here, we still can't shoot the boss kettle to activate it. However, we can swim around the back to clear off an ooze blocking an ink rail that takes us straight to the boss kettle. How incredibly convenient. We can now fight Shiver, the second member of Deep Cut. I'd be lying if I said fighting Shiver wasn't the exact same thing as Fry. You just kinda shoot her and Master Mega 3 times, and that's the end of that fight. However, I'm not sure if this is related or not, but something did happen during the cutscene.
Like, when that plays over the intro, that's awesome. But,
What the heck is going on?
what? She responds. There's a drip. Oh.
What happened?
Did I just blink during that?
I don't know if that has anything to do with the challenge run or anything, but I guess you could say that's what they meant when they said, "You lip sync, we drip ink," am I right? Okay, yep, I'll shut up. The rest of the game is simple as we only need 5,700 eggs to make it all the way to Big Man. If you need to grind for eggs, fight Shiver instead of Fry since Shiver supplies 800 eggs upon beating her instead of Fry's 700. You need to clear out this big glob of ooze and this small glob of ooze to cross the bridge. After clearing those 2 bits of ooze, you can then safely jump over this 3rd bit of ooze without spending any eggs. After that, clear this 3rd bit of ooze and move on to the Happiness Research Lab. Going into this, we thought this was going to be the hardest world, but it's actually just a free walk in the park. Or slide in the park, whatever you want to call it. You just slide across a few rails that lead you up to one glob of ooze, blocking the path up here, and then you just straight up waltz to the final boss. It's that simple. I see why they call this the Happiness Research Lab. We'll see how long that happiness lasts though, because it's not for long. You're probably expecting something similar to Shiver or Fry to happen in Big Man's fight, either in call or in game. However, nothing happened. This boss was completely normal. Other than the fact that, my computer ran out of space when we were recording this, and, I didn't catch it. We then fought the final boss after, so we had to re-record the final boss, but, when we finished recording initially, I deleted the profile. So, for the sake of we already did the whole Alterna Hub world without playing a single level, I'm just going to use my main profile, because it's just skipping the final boss now. Anyway, moving on.
As you know, the final boss has 4 stages that we have to go through. These technically aren't levels, but we're going to try and skip them anyway as a bonus challenge. By very carefully squid surging off of this wall, you can skip the deep cut cutscene and go over the wall. This doesn't lead to any level skips, but it's still cool, and it's worth noting. Unfortunately, with no way around it, we have to play this first little level right here. Fortunately, after that, we get to skip a level using some fine glitches found by the speedrun community. When going through, only shoot 1 set of boxes. Then we can use this red pillar to execute the glitch. Perform a very precise squid surge going up the middle left of this pillar, and you'll swim straight up it somehow. Once you get to the top, hold left, and you'll be kicked out like this. Messing this up is easy, since if you go too far into the middle, you won't get kicked out onto the ceiling, and if you're too far to the right, you'll get flung to your death like this. After you execute the glitch, jump across these 2 crates and carefully walk along this platform. You then need to perform a far jump on the left side to avoid the death plane. Then you can just kind of walk here and then just fall down, and you skipped a level. Congratulations! Now we get to perform one of my favorite skips. Ink rail skip. Do I really need to elaborate? Unfortunately, we couldn't muster up a skip to skip this phase or the next one. However, if any of you can come up with the skip or find one, tweet it to me at Angus Remington on Twitter.
And with that, our run comes to a close with a grand total of 7 levels required to beat the game. If you think you have any ways possible of skipping a level or making that number smaller, I would love to hear about them in the comments or on Twitter. Before we end the video, I would like to point out that every boss had a funny little thing that happened that made it unique. So I have one here too, and it's more of us just poking fun at something that most players probably didn't see since they didn't choose this option. With that, I bring you Big Karen.
Fish.
Yo, fish!
Oh, there is a drop of frosting on your fish's head.
What?
Look at the, oh dear lord. It's a little tiny little Karen.
Anyway, I'm done here, goodbye.